Well, hello. I don't know if you've been feeling it, but Mercury Retrograde is here for some chaos. No, it's not that bad. It's 4:55, by the way. It's not that bad. But it is how we are starting our new year. And if you are a wise spiritual being, then you will know that a Mercury Retrograde is here for shadow work. It is here to show you the things that you are neglecting. I know. Why? But trust me, if you just go full force and you just go through it and understand that it is here to teach you a valuable lesson, then you won't feel so stuck, you won't feel so cluttered, and you won't feel so down in the dust, down in the dirt. I don't know. But it is definitely Mercury retrograde, and may perhaps just still be the shadow period, but it's still here. And it's obvious. But with regardless of that, that is not our focus. Our focus is rising above all of the dust, dirt, whatever. So just the reason I'm holding these cards, if you are new here, I like to hold cards for no reason, so they are mysterious and you will never understand what's on the other side of these cards. Just kidding. No, okay. We're confirming the energy. That is what we do here. We like to confirm the energy at the beginning of the video, so if you want to skip ahead a couple minutes, go ahead. It's already been 2 minutes, but so I don't know why you would do that anyway, but just bear with me. Victory. You will overcome these feats. There may be some things from relationships, situationships, career, money. Some of your main triggers and traumas will be brought up, but understand that you will be triumphant because of all of the shadow season that you did have and going through all of that darkness and that depth. You've picked up a lot of shadow learning, and so that's why you are going to become victorious and have justice in your favor. There's this equal balance of give and take, reciprocation, energy, and going the right direction. Understand that you are on the right path. It may feel like wrong or tragic or just maybe in the clouds at some points, but you are on the right path. Trust the process, cuz that's all I can really tell you is to trust the process, especially through these lower tide seasons or like after a very big rush of energy, like especially during holiday seasons, which is obviously what we're going to talk about. There's this down season, there's this downer, kind of like I'm gonna bring this up, but kind of like when you do drugs, certain uppers or certain type of like ecstasy, it triggers your serotonin, right? And it squeezes all of that serotonin out of your brain. But then it's like, okay, well maybe this is an extreme example, but then you get overstimulated and all of that serotonin, it takes like, a certain amount of hours to redevelop and disperse itself again and balance itself out because it's had that like, that interruption within your brain, the chemistry in your brain. I'm not a psychologist, I'm an expert, I'm sorry, but that was my example. And, so it's like it takes time to recover. It takes time to recuperate and recharge after that type of like high and stimulation. Even if we're not talking about drugs, just things in general, like it's maybe a little bit harder to notice like for things in general, and that's why I bring up the extreme example because it's a little bit easier to understand that part, but that happens in regular day life. It happens in anything else you do. You have this high, this euphoria, and relationships are a big example. Like when you're going through the butterfly stage or whatever, like you will feel this sense of euphoria, and then whenever that sense of euphoria is gone, you feel a little lost in the relationship and the spark is gone, and so things just kind of fall apart naturally on their own. And so it's very similar to that. However, there's a way to understand that part, that process of energy and understanding and learning. And then once you understand that process, it becomes a little bit easier for you to recharge and understand what's actually keeping you at this lower vibration, this lower frequency. So it's easier to, again, recharge. So swiftness is also because of all of all of those things that you learned in this past couple of years, last year especially, you've gained this sense of swiftness. So like when things are kind of, you can feel them kind of having this snowball effect where they are kind of going in the, in a direction that you don't want the things to go, then you can kind of like swiftly just be like, you know what? I've noticed this, and so we're just going to rebalance everything. We're going to get reorganized. We're going to go back to our routine. We're going to build a stronger routine, and we're just going to identify whatever it is that's actually keeping us at this level, and we're going to face it and, again, tackle it. So that is like your main approach in dealing with like these down seasons. I'm just gonna call them down seasons because they're not necessarily like the end of the world. It's not always tragic when we have down seasons. Sometimes it's just like, you get this sense of creative loss. Your creative flow just is not there, or maybe you're feeling a little um sluggish, lazy, or just unmotivated, maybe even depressed and sad, and maybe there's some more things there obviously that we should start to evaluate and see what we are actually stimulating our lives with, and figure out some process and what's actually triggering these negative things, such as, diet, our relationships, our friendships, how we communicate, and how we are communicated with, and just the energy exchange. Like we have this better sense of analyzing it when we go through all that shadow work, but at the same time you can still have like a shadow season or a down season, and it's really good to identify that and be, patient with yourself more than anything. I've said this before in previous videos, but being patient with yourself is very much key, but not so much patient where you allow yourself to stay there. So you don't want that snowball effect, and it can happen if you do become complacent. So it's very important to understand that I dropped the swiftness card, but that was the one I was about to show you. So, like, be swift about identifying whatever it is that's keeping you stagnant, lazy, or just out of routine. So regain that energetic motivation. Surround yourself with good music, good food, maybe have some like quiet time, maybe not necessarily isolate yourself. I don't know, I'm not a person of self-isolation. There are things to be discovered on our own, I understand that, but my point is there's this great line with isolation, so that's why I don't tell people to isolate themselves, because there are different meanings to that word. So, again, you can separate yourself from other people and places that are energetically draining if you can. Obviously, we have family and commitments and things that we can't always accomplish, a separation and some quiet time, but you need to find it and you need to value it. And when you do have it, again, value it and utilize it. Utilize it for self-care, utilize it to recharge yourself, utilize it to be creative and get your energetic flow, your motivation back, because that spark is going to ignite the rest of the fuel that is actually laying dormant inside of you. It is there, I promise you. It's just sometimes we get, I won't say stuck, but we just need a little bit of a tap on the tushy so we can start motivating ourselves. Don't tap anybody on the tushy, please. But like, it helps push us in the right direction when we just get this sort of motivation from some source of energy. So don't be an energetic vampire and leech off of somebody else. Learn how to control and, well, not necessarily control, but learn how to learn your own energy. Learn how to recharge yourself. Learn when you are being overstimulated. Learn when you are being triggered. And learn when there are some down seasons for you, and don't tackle them with that sort of mindset that they are down seasons and everything's gonna go wrong. Like, don't look at Mercury retrograde and look at it as if it's going to be this negative thing and like what's going to happen next. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't psych yourself out that way. You're psyching yourself out for failure. No, I am not one of those people who believes that if you speak it into existence, it's going to. Yeah, sometimes that does work. Yeah, you can manifest that way sometimes, but it's not always that way. Just understand that you can psych yourself out psychologically and put yourself in a loop if you do look at it that way negatively. So try to understand that, yeah, maybe there are going to be some things going on energetically and chaotically. Maybe they won't have anything to do with me. Maybe they'll have something else to do with somebody else, and that will somehow affect me because it's, it's a part of my life, or friends or family, and their energy is sort of my energy. Sometimes, not all the time. We can separate those things, but you know what I mean. Like, the people around us, they affect us, even though we are very strong energetically and we are able to. Sometimes things happen, okay? It's just a part of life. But the thing is when you start to you acknowledge that you can actually, be prepared for these sort of, situations, or like, birthdays can be a really big one. I was never that big of a birthday person growing up. I hated my birthday. But now it's kind of like a self-care day for me. I don't, even if it's like not like, a day where I'm going to be drunk or whatever, but I don't do those sort of things anyway. But like, I don't, even if I'm not planning or prepping to celebrate with my friends or family or something, I'm going to make it a self care day, and I'm going to eat some good food, probably a big, nice cake or dessert or something like that, or something probably healthier. I'm trying to work on my health. But you know what I mean? So we will prepare ourselves. Valentine's Day, that one's very, like, it's, there's so many holidays that are built off of capitalism and consumerism, and it's like, I'm not one who's like, ooh, capitalism, but like, consumerism, it can really play out these social stigmas that, and put a lot of pressure on people, especially during the holidays, Christmas in particular, or Thanksgiving. And you have all these pressures to prepare this food, this feast, buy all of these presents, pay your bills, and maybe sometimes we don't have big families. Maybe like we have very very small families. Maybe some of us don't have families at all, and so it's not something we connect with, and it's not something that we look forward to. Even though society may look forward to these sort of events, but it's like some of some of these holidays, some of these events, like a birthday, can be pretty triggering. And it's not necessarily to say that that person's weak. That just means that maybe something has happened in their life where they connect these sort of events with something negative, and so it sparks this negative influence in them, and they go down this, not necessarily always a depressive hole, but like they start to see these holidays or these events and just get this negative view of it. And so it just psychs them out for, like, being unhappy or not enjoying themselves. And there's just a different way to approach things, and ways that you can enjoy yourself and understand that, yeah, maybe your loved ones are not here. Maybe this isn't the best, maybe you don't have a family to experience this event with, but you have friends. Maybe not all of us have a bazillion friends, but I can promise you having just one friend can make up for all of those other people. You just need one intimate connection with somebody. And if you can't establish that intimate connection with somebody else, establish it with yourself, because having that understanding of yourself, being there for yourself, self care, self love, dude, that is the most abundant form of love you will ever receive from anybody in the universe. There's nobody And if you expect that sort of love from anybody else, I can almost guarantee that it will be toxic. Not always. But, don't expect the world to put all these pressures on you and stuff, because some of these can just be made up out of thin air and nobody will actually have these expectations of you besides yourself. And so when you do disappoint, just kidding. When you don't do the thing that you were expected to do, you're actually not disappointing anybody. You'll find that sometimes too. So, like, if you are expected to make this giant feast or something and do all these why can I not say that word? Extravagant. Wow, why was that so difficult? But, you don't have to, like, do these things all the time to actually be accomplished. Like, good majority of the times, the only person you're letting down is yourself because other people didn't actually have those expectations. You just thought they did. I know it's crazy. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, just if you don't feel like you are mentally or physically prepared to do these things, like, take acknowledgement of that and take a step back. You can celebrate the holidays next week. I know maybe it might be strange, but everything will be on discount. Like, you don't have to do things the way other people or the way you think other people expect you to. And having that sort of expectation on yourself is going to just provide you with all of this unnecessary pressure. And it's just going to add fuel to the fire. And you don't need to do that. So that is my point. So, like, if you do feel energetically drained, you don't feel this sense of purpose. Maybe go out and do something for other people. Like, go out and to a food bank. Go out and do some, like, cleaning up at the park. Do something for other people, and you will feel a sense of satisfaction. Maybe not while you're doing it at the beginning, because it's like, oh, work. But, like, when you actually feel accomplished, when you actually accomplish that goal, it will make you feel better about things. Because you accomplished something. It's just something that happens when we accomplish things. We feel happy. It's just a matter of life. I don't know why. Little things that are satisfaction, that bring satisfaction into our lives, such as ASMR videos. Still don't understand that one. But you know what I mean? Like, there's things that we can do. Oh, yeah, going back towards it. Like, Valentine's Day was another one for me. Like, I utilize that as another self-care day, so I make myself drink some fancy drinks, like, I don't know, a bottle of champagne or something, and I have, like, a good feast, a good meal. I try to take a bubble bath, like a salt bubble bath, spiritual bath, with the candles and the herbs and the stuff. And, but I make it a thing about me and taking care of myself, because there's nobody else in the world who's going to take care of myself like I can, period. And I can promise you, having that sort of actual unconditional love for yourself and bringing that energy back towards yourself that you were trying to give towards other people by preparing these giant feasts or these giant, like, parties, or just trying to buy gifts for other people, and you just kind of bring that energy back towards yourself, you'll realize that, again, not these people didn't have those expectations. You had them for yourself, and they're so unnecessary, again. So maybe practice self-care. Maybe that's not the easiest thing, but do something for yourself and then maybe do something for a complete stranger, because there won't be this sense of expectation, and it's really different when you do something for a complete stranger. I don't know why, it just is. Maybe watch some of those videos like on Facebook or YouTube. There's this dude who goes around and he just does haircuts for kids and just kind of asks them what they want to be when they grow up. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's just this connection of intimacy between complete strangers when, we're in this world where there's so many people around us 24/7, but we're so disconnected because of the way we are built up in society. And so it's almost like you actually understand that you're in a real world with functioning people who are not as miserable as the TV screen may make them out to be sometimes. Like, there are people who are genuinely good people and happy, and there's a lot more of them than what your TV will tell you sometimes. So it's nice to see that sort of thing. It's nice to be a part of that sort of thing. So experience that sort of thing. Maybe that could bring you a lot more joy. And just, like flip the script though. Like make this something where you're not, preparing yourself for triggers. Mm, and instead you're preparing yourself to recharge yourself. You know what I mean? So you're not prepared for the triggers, you're prepared for the energetic exchange. So you're going to be fueled, you're going to be, in a nice clean bed, you're going to feed yourself and your animals, and everything is just going to be taken care of. Okay, this is a very big accomplishment. If you know anything about some of my other videos, I have epilepsy. It's not a hidden fact. It's in fact all over my YouTube sometimes. But I used psychedelic mushroom therapy to heal a lot of my epilepsy, and so a lot of the things I felt kind of disconnected from, because it felt like, I wasn't able to control my seizures. Obviously, I can't. But the thing is I just realized that there are things that you cannot control in life, but there are things you can prepare yourself. And so preparing yourself by eating better food, preparing yourself by taking care of yourself mentally, is separating yourself from toxic people and people who do not respect and love you, and people who expect too much from you. And there's a long list here, okay? I learned a lot this year. But this is a part of my shadow work, and I'm gonna just share it with you for a little extra tidbit of this video, so you know that you're not this person who is alone. You're probably actually more of not the black sheep in your family, and it's probably a lot more common than people make it out to be, because we have these, like, again, social stigmas about holidays, and it's all based on consumerism, so not that big of a deal, I promise you. So, but you can do these little things to take care of yourself in ways that, other people are not going to understand how to. And when you understand that people are never going to understand that, I know it's weird, but when you understand that people are not going to understand you the way that you can understand yourself, I swear to God, I hope that makes sense. Like, but when you come to that, like, reasoning and logic, then you can understand how to take care of yourself better, and then it won't feel so tragic around these types of events and holidays, and then you can utilize and transmute that energy and turn it into a positive force of action, and so that it becomes something positive. Again, it's not something that you can just say and know and be like, oh yeah, this chick makes sense. Oh, why have I not been watching your YouTube videos this whole time? You have to experience it, and then you'll learn through the shadow work, through the process, and through actually utilizing the handiwork that you did yourself, and you'll realize, it wasn't that bad. A lot of things feel a lot more tragic than they really are because we put a lot of energetic importance, and some of it's a little too extreme. Sometimes we hold people on these pedestals, sometimes we hold these experiences on pedestals, and so when we don't re-experience something that magical, or we don't re-experience that sort of energy, or that emotion, then it's like, well, there's nothing else that compares, and so everything doesn't feel quite as great. But that's not true. When you start changing that mindset and recognizing that mindset, then again, you can break things down a lot easier, and things won't feel so out of your control. Yep, that's it. There we go. Out of your control. When you realize that, you don't have to control things to bring things back towards you energetically, and like attract the things that are meant for you abundantly. I wish I could like just say these words and it would make complete sense to you, but I know that it won't. But when you understand that you can actually bring these things back towards you energetically without having these attachment styles, without having to feel like, there's this emptiness, this need, or this like lustful desire for something specific, then it becomes a lot more free flowing and it comes to you naturally. And so it won't have the anxiety attached to it. It won't have that uncertainty attached to it. It won't have the doubt attached, the fear, all of those other negative things. It won't have those things attached to it at all. And it will feel natural, and it will feel calm. And sometimes, if you are energetically chaotic, that will feel really off putting to you. And that's something that you really need to dive way, way, way deeper into. And you can do it, I promise you. But you do need to dive deeper if there are some extreme triggers like that. So I hope today's video helps you. I know this is kind of after the holidays, 5/22. But I've been feeling the holiday blues myself. I'm also like sometimes a little hormonal for other reasons. So, I just felt like it was good to bring up this sort of thing so people can learn to recharge themselves and better prepare themselves for at least the next holiday. Maybe this one still brought up some things, but it's okay. It brought up things because you needed to face them for what they were and understand them better so they won't keep affecting you the same way. Okay. I hope the shadow work is at least helpful in the sense that it prepares you for the next year, because the next year will not feel as tragic as these last few years, because we did do a lot of shadow work. Okay. I love you guys. Happy New Year. Prepare yourself. I'm going to do some more videos before the end of the year because I'm trying to get back on my schedule. But I'm going to be consistent. I know that I always tell you guys that, but I am going to start being much, much more consistent, especially in this new year. I'm going to gain this sense of professionalism where things are like on a schedule and you can at least know when to look forward to these videos. Okay. I love you guys. If you do want a reading, I have a new website. It is spiritual.square.site, and you can book a reading down there. The link is in the below box, and you can also catch me live on twitch.tv/spiritual_ if you ever want a live reading. I'm just saying, it's a lot cheaper that way than a private session, and you get to hang out with me. So I love you guys. See you later. Again, Happy New Year. Prepare yourself because this new year is going to bring in so much abundance for you, and you just gotta accept it, okay?